Coming up for 17 minutes to 8 o'clock on this Monday morning here on Morning News Today. Now, South Africans are applying in record numbers for foreign passports. Majority of applicants are non-whites. This is according to the findings of immigration law firm Henley and Partners. Well, here to tell us more, we have the firm's managing partner, Amanda Smit. She's in Cape Town for us this morning. Amanda, good morning, and thanks for your time this morning. So I suppose that many might look at these findings and be very surprised that most of these applications are from non-white South Africans, where previously, we'd seen it the other way around. Why? What are the reasons being given?
I think there's quite a number of reasons that one can take into consideration here. Firstly, I think, we're seeing that the world has got a lot more wealth than it had before, specifically in Africa and South Africa as well. It's not so much concentrated only in terms of race or in terms of certain areas of the world. There's been a massive increase in terms of the awareness that's been created on a global scale for the possibility of people actually applying for an alternative citizenship and, of course, the benefits that come with that. So it's no longer concentrated to specific areas.
Well, it almost sounds like a safety plan, like if... To me, in my head, I would hear like, if things go wrong, if things don't go our way. But are there particular reasons people are giving as to common reasons that you're finding? Because I'm also looking here, and it says of those inquiring about second passports, 85% were male and 70% were aged between 45 and 64. So I'd be very interested to know the why when it comes to the findings.
Exactly, yes. There's a number of reasons, and what is quite important to note is that most of the inquiries and the actual applications that we currently receive are for people wanting to get a Plan B in place, almost as an insurance policy, if you like. And if we look at the specific age bracket that you've just mentioned, 45 and onwards, those are mostly your people with younger families that are really looking in terms of securing a future proofing for their children and possibly for themselves as well. Not necessarily saying that, it's a Plan B or an insurance for when something necessarily goes wrong. But of course, with having an alternative citizenship, you increase your mobility. You have other opportunities in terms of banking and, relocation for future, and especially for children, having an opportunity to study, for instance, in Europe, or for work opportunities. So, and at the same time with, the increase of mobility and the flexibility to travel, we all know that the South African passport is very limiting in terms of where we can travel visa-free. We've got 122 destinations, most of which are not in the big economic areas such as Europe, Schengen area, Canada, the USA. So, of course, those are the most common reasons.
So is Europe the destination of choice when they're applying? Are you mostly seeing that they're wanting to head to Europe?
Yes, there's definitely a larger majority of people wanting to have access to Europe. But of course, then there are also a number of people applying for alternative citizenship in the Caribbean. One country in particular that also gives you access or a right of access into the United States. So there are various reasons in terms of jurisdictions, but Europe is definitely on top, yes.
Okay, so I'd like some advice there, because you said there is a list of countries, and you said the Caribbean, but there's a bit of a list of countries with the best residence and citizenship programs. So maybe for those who are thinking about it and want to know other than Europe, just give us a bit more detail on that.
So if we look at countries other than Europe, if we look at Caribbean, for instance, there are just about all the countries offer some sort of a citizenship by investment program. To name a few is Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominica, and then Grenada, which is very popular in South Africa, because when you become a citizen of Grenada, the country itself holds an E2 treaty visa with the United States. Which basically means is once you become a citizen of Grenada, you have the opportunity then to at any time in the future apply with your Grenadian passport for an E2 treaty visa that allows you and your dependents and your spouse to obtain a residence permit that allows you then to work in the United States, work there, study there. So that's a very, very popular program.
So how successful have they been in these applications, and how sort of embracing have these other countries been to have South Africans come over there?
To be honest with you, with Henley and Partners, I'm very proud to say that we've got a 100% success rate with our applications. All our pre-screening is done prior to us engaging with the client, so that we ensure that our due diligence is done, and that by the time it reaches the application with the government where they're applying for, there is a guaranteed success rate. For the governments on the receiving end, of course, they're very welcome to invite investors into their country from all walks of life, and from people across the globe, not only South Africans. Also because the due diligence standards are very, very high, not only with Henley and Partners, but ultimately with the government as well. It really does secure that very good people of professional and personal backgrounds are allowed into the programs. And at the same time, for the country, it's an economic influx in terms of, bringing in investors, bringing in new talent into their country.
All right. Well, very quickly, before I let you go, Amanda, I suppose a lot of people will be wanting to know, what are the skills that are needed? What are the most popular skills or the most needed skills in these countries?
It really depends from area to area. And to be honest with you, when you apply for citizenship, whether it's in Europe or the Caribbean or the United States, they're really looking in terms of people having a solid, clean background. And it's based on the investment. So you are not judged or determined. Your citizenship application is not determined in terms of necessarily the qualifications that you've got, or the background information that you bring to the country, but it's more about your investment and being seen as somebody that, with your connections, with your skills, whatever that might be, you will ultimately invest a certain amount of money in that country and, yes, grow their talent base.
Contribute. All right, thanks very much for that. Well, some sound advice there. If you're thinking of making a move, whether it's temporarily or just as a plan B, that's managing partner at Henley and Partners there, Amanda Smit in Cape Town.